What up, everybody? We got a mailbag coming up in today's video. This aired live on our live show, which goes down every Monday about 5 p.m. Eastern time. So subscribe and turn on your notifications so you could be alerted anytime we go live here on the channel. If we didn't get to your question today, go ahead and use hashtag Giants in the comments section, and I'll try to go down there and reply to everyone that submits their question. First question coming in via a super chat for my guy, Aunt Ben Rod, a real one out there. Sup, Marsh? Sup. My prediction for the draft's first round, cornerback Cam Smith, I'd be a fan of that. I'm seeing him slipping a little bit of these mock drafts, but you can't really trust everything you see now as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft. And then Jalin Hyatt in round 2. Look, if you come out with Jalin Hyatt and Cam Smith with your first 2 picks, I think that's a pretty good draft for the New York Giants. You get a good corner that I think has a lot of upside. Brian Baldinger, isn't that his name? Brian Baldy? He said that Cam Smith is a can't-miss prospect for the Giants at pick 25. He thinks he really fits a Wink Martindale defense. I'll trust Baldy on that one. He's been in the NFL and watching tape forever. And I love Jalin Hyatt. It takes one catch for Jalin Hyatt to change a game. I think he's the most explosive receiver and best deep threat in this class. I did a video about him on the channel. Giants were one of the least explosive pass offenses last year. You get a guy like Jalin Hyatt that makes your offensive line better because you can't blitz as much. It makes Saquon Barkley better because the boxes will be a lot lighter. It makes your quarterback better. So all it takes is one throw to throw for 6 over 50 yards. I'd be cool with that. My guy Craig Clifford. What up, Craig? Hope you're having a good one, man. He said second-round pick Ojulari's brother could finally team up in the NFL with the Giants. Yes, Azeez Ojulari's brother, BJ Ojulari, is an edge rusher at LSU. I think it's pretty funny because a lot of NFL draft sites say BJ's professional NFL comp is Azeez Ojulari, and that's probably the lowest hanging fruit any of these NFL draft nerds could ever get. But look, Craig, you watch the show all the time. That's why you're a real one, and I agree with you. Look, I love BJ Ojulari. I mean, I love BJ overall, but I would love to get one at pick number 57. That didn't come out right. Giants need an edge rusher is what I'm trying to say. I like Thibodeau. I love Azeez Ojulari. We need a rotation of pass rushers. Ryder Anderson, Tom and Fox, Ellerson Smith. You need someone else. Could BJ be a guy that rotates in? I think so. I'd be a fan of taking an edge rusher in round 2. Craig, salute to you, my man. Mike G. MG, such a stud. MG, you're such a stud. My question for you is, do you think a guy like Marcus Peters is worth a signing? 1-year prove-it deal, maybe linked to Wink, seems like a no-brainer. I think you're right on the money right here, Mike. I've talked about Marcus Peters time and time again here on this channel. For so long, Marcus Peters had been linked to the Giants, like you said, because of the Wink Martindale connection. He was his DC in Baltimore. He fits what the Giants want and need at the cornerback position. It's just the age and the injury concerns that I think are scaring off a couple teams from Marcus Peters. But if I can get Peters for a 1-year, $2, $3, $4 million deal, come be that cornerback too outside of on the opposite side of Adoree Jackson for a year or two, I would absolutely love that. He is a ball hawk. He's a risky corner, which I like. Can't be scared. He's going to make some plays. He's also going to get beat, which is okay. Turnovers are king. You give up 2 touchdowns, give me a pick. Every 2 touchdowns, you'll be a pretty good corner in the NFL. Mike, I would love to get Marcus Peters. It's going to come down to how much money he's willing to take, though. I do want this question to be answered by a lot of you guys watching this show, so help me out here. CBS Sports just put out their over-under win totals for the 2023 seasons, and they got the Giants at 8.5 wins this year. What do you think? 8.5 wins. Over, under. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get hit with that YouTube ad break right now, scroll on down and let me know. 8.5 wins for the Giants, over, under. Eshawn Abraham, what's up, Brody? Says, would you trade up to the top 15 for JSN or trade with the Seahawks for pick 20 to get Jordan Addison? The only receiver, to be honest with you, Mr. Abraham, is the only receiver I would trade up for is Jaxon Smith-Njigba. He is wide receiver 1 in my book by a long stretch. I think he's going to be a guy that we're going to look back at and say, why was he not a top 10 pick? He predominantly played out of the slot in Ohio State, but that doesn't mean he can't play outside. And I think he can. When you play with guys like Chris Olave and who's the receiver that Garrett Wilson, thank you, Rolly, last year or 2 years ago, I guess that is, for Ohio State, you're going to just fit in when you get in, where you get in, especially if you're a sophomore. But remember that bowl game where he had 300 yards without those two guys? He looked more than just a slot receiver then. His short area quickness is special. He showed that off at the NFL Combine. I think he can run every route on the route tree, and I think he's big and strong enough to play on the outside as well. JSN starts getting to 15, 14, 16 on the clock. I bet Joe Schoen's going to start working those phones. Nicholas, what's up, man? He said, should we trade our first-round pick for Brandon Ayiuk? This is how I would handle this, Nicholas. Let's say the Giants don't trade up. Pick 25 is on the clock. Let's say Jaxon Smith-Njigba is gone. Jordan Addison is gone. Zay Flowers is gone. Quentin Johnston goes at pick 24. Then I probably would consider trading for Brandon Ayiuk. Would it be tough to swing a draft day trade for a guy like Aiyuk? Absolutely. But we saw A.J. Brown get traded during the NFL draft. I think who is on the board at pick 25 maybe entices a guy like Joe Schoen to make this trade. Straight up, if the Niners called me right now and said, we'll give you Brandon Ayiuk for pick 25, I would do it. I'm a lot higher on Brandon Ayiuk than I think a lot of people are. I think he's one of the most complete receivers in the National Football League. He can line up on the outside. He can line up in the slot. He's a generator with the football in his hands. He's a springy athlete. And I think if he got out of the shadows of Deebo Samuel and the bad quarterbacks that they've had in San Francisco and goes and plays with Daniel Jones in a system that I think he would gel in, I think Aiyuk could be a top 15 receiver in the NFL. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel as well. We put out videos every day here on New York Giants Now. Don't be weird. Don't be weird. You're watching. You might not be subscribed. Change it. Hit that sub button. Don't be weird. Anthony Raza, my man, he says, do you believe we should trade back for more picks? It's definitely a thought I've had, Anthony, and I've seen some guys talking about it that cover the New York Giants. Look, if you have three picks in the top 100. You got 25, 57, 89. If you want to trade back from 25 to 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, pick up maybe another day two pick. Sure, I'd be down. Maybe you don't love any of the receivers that are available at 25. Maybe you think the guy you want is there at 25, but also there at 30. And if you could pick up some more draft capital on the way to do that, I think you could do that. We saw Joe Schoen trade down twice in round 2 last year. So, Anthony, I think trading down is definitely a possibility, and I'm not going to be shocked if it happens. Joe Schoen, he's always trying to add more picks. I think he might look to trade down in round 1. Dominic, what up, DG? Do you think that we could trade for D-Hop or Stefon Diggs with this cap space? Yes, because you can always manipulate the cap. Like, there's always ways to create more salary cap space. I think the better question here is, do I think that the Giants will do that? No. I don't think that they're going to trade for D-Hop. I don't think they're going to trade for Stefon Diggs. A Diggs trade would come after June 1st. That saves the Bills a lot more money if they do make that trade. But overall, I don't think the Giants are going to make another big trade. Could be wrong, but I think trading that third-round pick for Darren Waller was the big trade the Giants were going to make. I love D-Hop. I love Stefon Diggs. It'd make this team better, but I don't see it happening, unfortunately. Let's discuss it. LDI, what up, Brody? Says, Giants, are they still negotiating Barkley's contract? From what I heard, no. I saw an interview. Joe Schoen said that the contract offer for Barkley that they made is off the table and that they're just going to roll with the franchise tag. Maybe they get back together at some point in June, July, and August and work on a deal. I'm sure they're still in constant contact with Barkley and his representation, but I don't think there's any sitting at a table right now going back and forth about numbers. I think that happened prior to the franchise tag. I hope they get a long-term deal done, but at what price? That's going to be interesting considering what the running back market was this year. Rangers Raven with a question. And one of the Athletics mock draft, they had the New York Giants trading up to number 11 for Christian Gonzales. What do you think? Well, I'd freaking love that. I think Christian Gonzales is one of the best players in this draft. I think he's arguably one of the best corners in this draft. Him and Witherspoon are two of the top, in my opinion. What's it cost, though? How much is it going to cost to move from 25 to 11? That sounds like it's going to cost a future first-round pick. And as good as I think Christian Gonzales is it worth giving up an additional first-round pick? That's a question I don't think I'm willing to answer or willing to do. I don't think I'd give up the 2024 first-round pick to move up to get Gonzales. As good as I think he is. Giants still have to build through the draft, and I don't know if you want to move up 14 slots and give up an extra first-round pick and not get a quarterback. That's a little steep for me. Gabriel, what up, Gabe? If someone like JSN or Joey Porter is available around 18-20, do you think we trade up? Maybe. Look, if Joe Schoen falls in love with a prospect and he's like, I got to have him. I can't let him go to somewhere else. I got to have him wearing Giants blue, then he'll do it. Look, if JSN's there at 20, you might not be able to risk it. You got to go get him if that's who you want. But look, I'm not going to be shocked if the Giants trade up or they trade down. It's hard to see from afar. We've only seen one draft where the Giants were with Joe Schoen, but they picked at 5 and 7. Obviously, they weren't trading up. There was rumors that they were going to trade down. That didn't happen. They traded down twice in the second round. Gabe, I think anything is on the table. If Joey Porter Jr., who is one of my favorite corners, or JSN is available at 18 or 20, I wouldn't mind trading up. I wouldn't mind trading up at all. Last one in today's show. Brian, my man, says, I feel like the only wide receiver that will drop to 25 is Zay, and if he's there, obviously, absolutely grab him. I don't think we should trade up, honestly. We can make any first-round wide receiver work. I'm kind of there with you, Brian. I think there's too many holes on this team right now to be giving up the draft capital it costs to move up. But let's say JSN's there at 23, 22, 21, 20. Does that change your mind? JSN's my number one wide receiver by a good stretch. So I would trade up for JSN, but I wouldn't give up a future first, and I wouldn't give up a second. I'm wanting some, but I want to pay it on the cheap. That's just who I am. But Brian, I'd be shocked if the Giants traded up, but I wouldn't be mad about it because JSN, I think he's the real deal. We'll close the show with this question today. Name a player you want the Giants to draft. If there's only one player you could have the Giants draft, and he's your guy, who is he? Comment a name down below that the Giants have to draft. Sound off for me. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to today's video. If you haven't yet, give me a follow over on Twitter. And if you made it this far in the show, hit that thumbs up icon. Show some love. Like this video.